Think of stealing ideas and think of your presentation. Make it shorter, funny, or creative so you get the votes. Try to steal as much as possible from other sources. Try to do it in 1 minute, which will be a little tough, but if you focus, that will be possible. So I would say something short on growing with small resources. Just some ideas for your, as an example, this is a media surveillance company that I started to media-based surveillance. You know, checking on your own name, your company, your type of business in the news of the last 24 hours. I started this 2003 in Gothenburg and at the time I had a course at the university with building big things with no resources, which is a funny subject, how you create things without having actually no money, no funds, nothing, and I teach the students to work with. For example, what I do as a part of the course, I give them a pen in the beginning of the day, and they have a full day of exchanging this pen on town for something else. In the end of the day, they will come with bicycles, tickets, big boxes of things. They go in and ask people, or friends, or anybody. So they will have, for one pen, most of the students will have thousands of crowns of value in the end of the day, understanding how they can exchange for something, by forcing, persuading, or whatever they can do, by networking. You can transfer something of no value to something very big in a day if you just use all the connections, everything you have. And so in this course I took 8 of the students and I said, you will write about this company. My expectation is that we will be the best and biggest company in Scandinavia within 2 years. And what I did was ask 2 other universities, my students and 2 other universities to write 3 different business plans. I don't know what connections you have, but we have different levels of schools, so you can ask one of your local schools or ex-workers to write your business idea, right? You know what I mean? They will help you to get the structure of your idea, and that will help you if you're busy with something else, if you don't have the time. So it's a good suggestion. Use a local school, or many like I did, to produce different business plan where you can get ideas of how to grow your business. I then had a good business idea because it was an agency for a Norwegian company that could check on 55,000 web sources in real time. So if my name came up immediately, I would have it in my mail if I wanted, 1 time a day or just when it appeared. So media surveillance. But so I persuaded an investor to pay me $15,000, which was enough to pay the share capital to register a company in Sweden. So I paid $3,000 for complete working places. I paid $1,700 for 40 telephones, and I got the furniture for free through my network, and I got the rent for free. I said I would pay you when we get a turnaround. So I had a real no cost business. I used to say to people, my students and small companies that were selling for me based on commission only, so I had no fixed cost for the sales. The customers or the owners at the time of Meltwater, they would give me credit, so I didn't have to pay the bills in time.
What commission percentage did you get?
I actually don't remember now. It was, it's changed too. This was a development, so network recommendation. I had a great network, so I sent a mail to all my friends. And this investor's brother he worked at an IBM office in Stockholm, so we forced him to buy the first license, a small office with 20 people in a small IBM company. So the next customer I phoned, I said, yeah, we are a really great company. Among our customers are IBM, and the rest is history. So to have 1 or 2 customers for your business, that is much bigger than yourself. You know, the problem is often when you talk about yourself, you don't get out of it. I have to explain who I am, my background. If I talk about IBM, okay, IBM. Well, how much is it? You know. So if you can use examples like this, things in your friends, connections, network to grow your company without cost. In 2 years, we were this company were growing very fast in Sweden. So after 2 years, we had a turnaround of around how much is it in pounds? Let's see, in dollars, well, $10 million a year, and 70 people working for me, and I sold the company back to the owners, you know, the Norwegian owners, but the expansion of the company was in Sweden. So my young guys that were working with me is now all over the world. In many countries, it's 50 countries and 1,050 people working in the company today, and my young guys are bosses all over the world. And we started that company without 1 Swedish crown. So you can do it too. You can start with nothing. And I think that's an advantage sometimes. I don't know your experience, but if you have nothing, you need to be very creative. You need to use every talent you have. And that will make you humble when you grow, hopefully. So those are some of the customers I had within a year. We had 50 stock market companies within a year of the start of this company. And the turnaround of the company today, I wish I was part of that. The turnaround is around $70 million, and about 20% is profit. So my Norwegian partners are rich guys. This is the example of growing something big from using university sources. I used the Masters in Entrepreneurship to write my business plan during a year, like I told you before. The last year of the Masters, they would write a plan on a real business idea, technology. Like this was recycling of tires, material recycling of tires with a new type of technology, where from a tire we get steel, carbon black, oil and gas, with a very creative patent that the gas will run the factory. The gas that we produce runs the factory, and the material we produce is of such high quality that we can make new products, new rubber or new tires from the products, which nobody had done before. To explain that for my investors, I used as a tip for you use something that the investor will understand, because my first investors didn't understand anything of the technology. So how do I explain this? I told them we bake buns backwards. So we put in the buns in the oven, wait for a while, and you have the ingredients of the bun in the oven. We open up and we bake a new bun. Do you want to get in? Yes, thank you. So I got my first millions on that, and this took a long time, but I used every source I could of. This is a factory. This part of the factory I built in an old factory in Sweden, in a very beautiful place. A factory that last year went to the Swedish stock market. This year, just a week ago, went to the Swedish stock market with a value of $70 million, and I left the company. I just own a part of it. But that was an example of using relatively small resources, schools, and I used 100 students to do this. For every conceivable thing. I asked one group of students to make research on prices of carbon black, prices of oil, prices of gas, qualities, competition, and so on, so on. So I have been very good at using resources that cost nothing but time to build a great company. Network finances. We got a lot of subsidies for development of new green technology from European Community and from the Swedish government. And we actually got an original way of financing the company by the Swedish Export Credit Board would give me guarantees of the loans because we became exportable when we built the factory. So they gave us 75% of the loans was guaranteed by the Swedish Export Board, so we could start to export factories. And we were successful. Today, just recently we signed with China and soon with Chile to sell our factories. So this was an example of doing a real big venture with relatively small resources, using the, like I said, students, subsidies, network. Let's see how we get in time here. Can I overdraw 10 minutes? Is that okay? Because I think this is a really important thing. The Swedish coach of the national team in golf, about 20 years ago, the Swedish golf ladies were average in the world. And he came in with a new thinking of, can we change, you know, the difference between the winner in golf and number 50 is not very much, it's a few hits. How can we change the mentality of the Swedish ladies? And he did a number of things, and this is one example that I stole from him, and it's really good. He changed the mentality from what I talked about before, to be scared of playing, you know, to not do things, to instead of focusing on what to do. And one of the things he came up with was an idea he got on his way to Stockholm, from Gothenburg to Stockholm with his family. He has a 6-year-old daughter, and after a little while on the way to Stockholm, the daughter said, "Papa, can I have an ice cream?" And he said, "No, we are in a hurry, we can't have an ice cream." And after a little while, the girl again asked, "I know I can't have an ice cream, Daddy, but if I could have an ice cream, what kind would I have then, or what sort would I have then?" And he started to think, you know, what kind would he thought of himself what he loved, you know. And suddenly he was buying ice cream to the whole family. And he wondered what happened. And it's actually, it sounds a little strange, but what happened, he used that in his coaching of the ladies, and that was one of the success factors. You know, among the ladies were Charlotta Sörenstam, that was number 1 in the world for a long time, and the Swedish ladies were best in the world for 10 years or something, because of the change of mentality. This was an exercise where he then would say, for example, I use it with my sons, and I use students would come up to me, well, I have no chance to do this text in 2 weeks. And I said, I know it's impossible, but if it was possible, how would you do then? You know what happened when you say that? You try it with your children. They will not understand, they will not connect. So your children or anybody will give you the solution without thinking. And without you saying a word. So the student would give me the solution. I asked my son to mow the grass, and he would say, "No, I don't have time. I know, son, that you don't have time, but if you had time, how would you do that?" And he would give me the answer and do it. and he used that ice cream boomerang. Try it if you want to have somebody do something that they think is impossible. Start with yourself. I know I said it is impossible, but if it was possible, how would I do that? So, me and my brother, we decided when we left another business, we started to play golf. Why not build our own golf course? But we have never built a golf course. How would we do it? It's impossible. But if it was possible, how would we do it? So we built the golf course, 66 beds, and the lake, and 27 holes, and that was a dream come true. We bought it 1990, if you know the year. There was a crash on the European economic market. So we had a tough time, but we built a fantastic golf course that we sold 2 years ago. So that was a dream coming true by doing the right thing. So then one of our, I've been in the movie business, producing films, a few hundred films in the 90s, and I sold my companies dealing in film rights in the middle of the 80s. And my brother and me said, now we've been dealing in films and rights for a long time. Why don't we make our own Hollywood movie? And yeah, like you say, yeah, but we have not done a Hollywood movie before. But if it was possible, how would we do then? So what we did was we made everybody involved in the movie to be partners instead of getting paid. They got just a little payment. I went to Finland, I found a producer, I found a director in the school of the directors in Helsinki. His name was Larry Harjola, very talented young guy. He wanted to go to America, so we wrote a script called Born American, so he would have to take him to Hollywood. I went to Hollywood, I met all the great actors at the time, and when I was home at Chuck Norris' place, you know, he was very popular at the time. He was really interested in the film, but we couldn't pay him. he didn't want to be part of, you know, ownership. So when we were talking, his son came in, Mike Norris. His son was much cheaper, so he became the actor in the film. He and 2 other American young guys. The fun thing, so we used media, we used young talents, comparatively cheap actors, and we made a movie in Finland, and the release of the film was supposed to be in Helsinki, and the Russian embassy had heard about the film, and that the film was a little anti-Russian, you know, what happened when you come to Russia with all those rough guys. And so they asked us if they could see the film beforehand, before the premiere, and they saw the film and they became furious about the film, so they made an official complaint to the Finnish government, which was the greatest marketing hit I ever had. It was a #1 news in every media all over the world, so everybody wanted to see that forbidden movie, you know. So we didn't have to do any publicity about that movie. This young guy changed name to Rennie Harlin. He moved to Hollywood. He married Gina Davis. He became the #1 director for the next 10 years in Hollywood. You know, Die Hard, for example, and some other well-known movies. Cliffhanger, Cleaner, Long Kiss Goodnight. Sadly, he divorced Gina, but the first film he made, I was part of, you know, taking him to Hollywood. So that was a dream come true. So what's your dream? What's your dream coming true? Think of the problem you thought was impossible. I know it is impossible, but if it was possible, how would you do then? Think of that till tomorrow and came up with a possible idea that would change the world. So this is another business idea. I will not get into it, take a little on transformation tomorrow because of the time and the transformation of a nation. I will just get into the end of this day. Now I suggest you take a few minutes to add to your ideas, and then we have a presentation in 3 minutes. So steal, add, and have one in each group to present the idea for the big final of the competition.